Hello friends, welcome back in our economics module. My name is Ninad Pandit. I am the faculty at Savarkar IAS Study Circle. In previous sessions we discussed first two chapters of our index part, that is Introduction to Economics and second Crisis related to money, in which we discussed about Great Depression and South Asian crisis. Today we are going to cover third chapter, that is types of economies. I have divided these types of economies into two parts. The first part is organizations or organizing the economies. In that we are going to deal with capitalistic economy, state economy and mixed economy. And second part or second topic, that is sectors or types of economies. The types of economies are agricultural or agrarian economy. The second is manufacturing economy and the third is service economy. So without wasting more time, let's start with this module, types of economies. So the first topic, that is organizing the economies, and the first part of that is the capitalistic economy. Now, capitalistic economy was formed for the first time in USA. This capitalistic economy theory was given by Adam Smith. We discussed about Adam Smith in our introduction part in theories, because he is also called as father of economics, as he gave economic theory for the first time when we started dealing economics as a separate subject, right? You might be remembering about the first lecture, because we discussed this part in our first lecture, where Adam Smith gave theory about how wealth can be generated in the market. Alright, so we'll move ahead. Adam Smith in his book Wealth of Nation propounded that there must be less intervention of government in market, so that market can grow and market can decide values for the commodities. Now let me explain. First word or first concept Adam Smith used, that is laissez-faire. It's a Latin word, laissez-faire, which means less intervention of government. Adam Smith thought that whenever government intervenes into the economic affairs of any business entity, these business entities cannot grow. If these business entities cannot grow, government or growth of nation cannot take place. That's what he advocated. Later on, he told about one more concept, that is called as invisible hand in the market. Invisible hand in market. What he told about this invisible hand in the market with respect to price mechanism. He stated, in the market, price of a commodity will be decided by market forces, that is demand and supply. Let's have a quick example about this. If you require oil, or if there is a demand for oil, the supply of oil will take place. With respect to demand, the price will be decided for that oil entity. So he stated, the price in the market will be decided by market forces, that is demand and supply, and government intervention should not be there for deciding the price. Alright, so this is a simple concept he gave, and he stated business people or entrepreneurs must be the driving force in the economy. Hence we call this economy as the capitalistic economy. Alright, Adam Smith gave this theory in the year 1776. USA when became independent, that is in the year USA got independence in the year 1775. As soon as they got independence, they adopted this theory of Adam Smith. Alright, and they started following the capitalistic nature of economy. Around 1800, this capitalistic economy spread over European nations like France, Germany, UK, etc. And here this word capitalism came into the effect. Capitalistic nature of economy advocates one theory, which states that the decision for how much to produce, what to produce, and at what price to sell is taken by market or private entrepreneur, and state having low economic role. What do you mean by this? Suppose if I have a manufacturing unit, I'll decide what entity I want to produce, whether I want to produce car, bike, any agricultural entity, or X number of thing. At what number or how much to produce? Suppose I want to create 100 cars, 100 bikes, that number I'll decide. I want to sell that car for 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 300 rupees, how much profit I want to generate from that, how much actual cost I got and how much profit I'm gonna get is completely decided by me or a manufacturing unit, and government have no control or authority over me. So this system, this statement is advocated by capitalistic nature. I hope you understood the capitalistic kind of economy. Will be requiring these basic concept in our future sessions. That's why I am tackling these basic concept in the initial period, so that in future sessions you won't find difficult to understand these concepts. All right. I hope you understood this capitalistic nature. So let's move ahead and start with state economy. The idea of state economy was given by Karl Marx, a German philosopher. Karl Marx, a German philosopher. Okay. This idea he gave just to oppose the capitalism. State economy is completely opposite to capitalistic economy. In capitalistic economy, we understood the entrepreneurs or the business entities, they have the rule or they have the power to modify or to rule the market. Whereas in this state economy, state or the government, whosoever in the power, will have the complete authority over that particular region, and they will decide what to do, what not to do. So this is complete opposite of capitalism. This idea was given by Karl Marx, and this idea came into a practical sense for the first time in USSR. USSR, which is current Russia, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. It's their previous name. And why this came into picture, have one historical event to this, that is the Bolshevik Revolution. Bolshevik Revolution, which took place in the year 1917. Now Bolshevik Revolution you will be dealing separately in your history part of UPSC. But to understand this state economy, I'll explain Bolshevik Revolution quickly. In the 1880 period, Russia or USSR, during that period USSR, had a monarchy, and Tsar Nicholas was the king. But people in USSR were not happy with his administration because he was not giving that attention towards the agricultural sector in USSR. USSR by that time was mainly an agricultural economy because agricultural produce was at a great peak. Still, Tsar or king was putting a lot of taxes on these laborers and migrant workers in USSR. So they were not happy with its administrative part. By the time in 1898, in USSR there was a form of new party which is called as Republican Socialist Democratic Party, RSDP. This party was divided into two parts in 1902, which is called as Bolshevik and Menshevik. This Bolshevik and Menshevik. The word Bolshevik means majority and Menshevik means minority. But if you will see in Russian history, Bolsheviks were always in minority, whereas the name's meaning is majority, and Menshevik, whose meaning is minority, but still they were in majority. So there was one event took place in the year 1904 where Russia or USSR went into a war with Japan for the region of Manchuria. This Manchuria had a Port Arthur. On that Port Arthur, Russia wanted the dominance because that port was workable throughout the year. Russia had a port named Vladivostok, but that port was not workable in winter period. So they wanted the dominance over the Port Arthur. But Russia lost this war with Japan, and condition of laborers in Russia started deteriorating day by day. So there were a lot of protests going on by the time of 1910, 1911. I won't be explaining that part to you. But what we have to understand now, there was a protest on St. Petersburg in the year 1912, where 50,000 workers came and they protested against Tsar, that was a king. So Tsar understood, now he have to do something to impress people and to give some assurance to them so that they're gonna get good administration from his side. So Tsar formed Duma, which is a USSR parliament where representation of these labor class will come and they'll sit in this Duma and they'll put up their problems in front of the parliament or in front of the house. But still there was one more irony, that still Tsar formed a Duma, but people who were sitting in this parliament, they were mainly capitalistic people or autocratic people who had a complete authority or who had a complete dominance over people. So representation from grassroots was not given in Duma. This was an irony. By the time in 1917 Russia, right, 1915 Russia went into the war, World War I, and condition of these laborers more deteriorated. Approximately 1 crore people died in this World War I, and there was a lot of hunger. People were not having place to stay, and complete chaos was happening in Russia or USSR by that time. So Tsar understood that he can't be in a power in this condition, as people are very angry and they can kill him anytime. So he lose his power and he gave power to Mensheviks. As there was World War I going on, they didn't conduct election, and Mensheviks got power and Prime Minister was created by Menshevik group. As soon as Mensheviks got power, they arrested and kept ban on Bolshevik people. Bolshevik used to have a red army. That's the reason why you can see the color of Russia in their flag, that is a red color. So many leaders of Bolshevik, they started residing into various other countries. One of the example is Lenin. You might have heard his name, Vladimir Lenin. He was residing in Canada. Then later on, when Bolshevik came into the power, they attacked, this Red Army attacked Mensheviks, and later on they came into the power, and Lenin became the first premier of Russia, where he adopted this socialistic nature of economy. Now I have explained you this part very quickly. You can refer to other sessions and you can understand about the history of Bolshevik revolution. There are various events to it, but I have explained you in a quickest manner so that you can understand. So Lenin came into the power and he implemented this state economy in USSR. USSR, which means that Soviet, this USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, this Soviet word means that a group of laborers. Also one more idea of Lenin, that is, he stated there must be a rule of proletariats. This word means, proletariats mean a labor class or a working class. Now when Karl Marx, when he gave the state economy or socialistic economy kind of nature economy, he stated they must be getting power in a step-by-step manner. But Lenin stated if we start getting power in a step-by-step manner to labor class, it might go ages. So we must get power with the help of militia or military or the weapons. So they got, this Bolshevik people, they got power with the help of military, also called as Red Army, and they came into the power and they implemented this state economy. This Lenin implemented this state economy. The St. Petersburg place, which is a very important place in Russia, Lenin renamed it as Leningrad, just to have one clarity. Later on again it was renamed as St. Petersburg. Currently the name is the same. Alright. So this was for the first time in Russia implemented this state economy. Later on in China, People's Republic of China, under the leadership of Mao Zedong, in the year 1949, they implemented this communism or communist kind of economy. There is a minute difference between socialistic and communist. Alright, we'll understand that difference now. In socialistic economy, they say that the part or means of production are under the government. Means of production means I have a business, I require land, that will be a mean of my production. I require raw material, will be a mean of my production. So these are called as property, and assets are the means of production, are controlled by government. And for running the economy, government will have the large part. That's what it is stated by socialistic economy. So there is no complete authority of state, but the majority, 80% authority is there of the state government. But whereas in communistic or communist economy, they state that all property and means of production, which means labor, resources, are owned by government, and state government have complete authority over the economic control. So this is a minute difference between socialistic and communist. Here there is a 80% government control, here there is a 100% government control. Alright. Now currently in this corona world, you might be listening China's name ample amount of time. There is a speculation also that as China became a communist state in the year 1949 under the leadership of Mao Zedong, by the year of 2049, they want world into the state of communism. Now this is my personal view, that communism theory looks very good in books where they state that labor class must be ruling and labor class must be the dictator or the prime minister or whosoever the important member of the state government. But ultimately, whenever this labor class moves to that position, he becomes the autocrat or the leader or the entrepreneur, because without being the entrepreneur, the country we can't run the country, right? So this theory looks very good in book, but whenever it comes into a practical sense, it becomes a dictatorship. So that's the thing, this capitalistic nature, this state economy came into the picture just to oppose the capitalistic economy. Hence, capitalistic economies during that time targeted such kind of economy as state capitalism, which means state dictatorship. They targeted these economies in that manner. Okay, so I hope you understood this state economy. We'll move ahead to our third topic, that is mixed economy. In the mixed economy, they tried to achieve the center point from the capitalistic and state economy. Because understand, in capitalistic economy, completely business class had control over the economy, whereas in the state, completely government had the control. So these are 2 points or 2 final destinations of the ring, whereas in the center point we tried to capture the mixed economy, where we'll have some part of capitalistic, some part of state. So this type of economy started evolving after the Great Depression of 1928. I hope you remember our previous session with respect to Great Depression. Why this Great Depression took place? Because in USA government had no control. We discussed about one cause where there was no monetary control of government, where government will keep eye on the companies which are entering into the market and how they are dealing, how they are using the money given by public, etc. So government also should have control or should have some rules imposed on the industrialists so that they'll function properly. So that's what we call it as a mixed economy. Currently, in current scenario, many nations or many countries have adopted this mixed economic type of pattern. But as soon as this Great Depression took place, John Maynard Keynes, he is a British economist, he gave this mixed economics theory in his book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, where he stated government must be targeting towards providing the basic or social goods. Social goods which mean basic healthcare facility, basic transportation facilities, like currently how we have BST buses, trains, street lights. So these basic amenities must be provided by government, and later on government must keep checks on the business class so that fraudulent activities will not take place. Alright, So this kind of nature is called as mixed economy. When India became independent in the year 1947, we adopted the mixed economic pattern. Alright. So Keynes suggested this part to capitalistic nature of economies, where he stated you need to move little bit towards the socialistic kind of economy, which means you have the capitalism, little bit move towards socialism, where government will take little bit control in the running the economy. Whereas there is one more professor known as Oscar Lange, Polish economist he stated the same thing for state economy, where he stated you need to move little bit towards the capitalistic nature. Alright, so Keynes stated the same thing for capitalism, Oscar Lange stated the same thing for state economies. So from these theories, the world moved towards the mixed economic pattern, where state government and entrepreneurs started working together. Alright, now let's move to second part, that is types. These capitalistic state, mixed economy are the organizations or the organizing bodies. We define these economies into three parts based on their GDP distribution. Now, I discussed with you about GDP in short in our previous sessions. Just to understand, GDP means our final output of the country, the total final output of our country. We'll be discussing separately about GDP in future sessions. So just to understand for now, GDP means the total final output, the value of total final output, which means suppose I have a bread, I have bike, I have car. So the value of all these commodities which are sold at MRP, the final price, when we calculate, that value is called as GDP of a particular country. Okay, so if our country is agricultural economy, industrial economy or service economy, that we determine by these factors. So to have example, Indian agricultural loan in GDP role in GDP is somewhere around 17%, industrial role is somewhere around 29%, and service sector role is 54%. So whenever any country's or sector's role is more than 50%, we call that country of that type. So in this session or in this example, service economy or service sector of India having the 54%, so we call Indian economy as the service economy. Now they have another name also for these things. Agricultural economy we also called as the primary sector. For industry we call it as secondary, and for service we call it as tertiary. Okay, agriculture means all activities comes into this place, like fishing, mining, and agricultural activities what we do on a field. So this is called as a primary sector of the economy. Industry means any manufacturing unit. In China there is a 40% role of industry. Alright, and whereas if you compare the agriculture sector of economy, agricultural sector in USA's GDP, they have 1% role, but their GDP is of huge quantity. Suppose India's GDP is 100 and their role is 17%, USA's GDP is 10,000. So 10,000's 1% is more than India's 17% of GDP. So India will have 17 rupees, whereas 10,000's 1% will be more than 17, will be 100. So they have a huge role because their GDP is also huge. So that in that fashion. So industrial we also called as a secondary economy, and tertiary in service sector, which means I am teaching to you at this moment is the service given by me. AC servicing person who comes at your place, who actually does not give you anything, but he works for you. The person who irons for your clothes is providing you service. Any maid coming at your place, she or he is providing service to you, is called as a service sector. Transport, people who are transporting goods from one place to another place, they are also providing service to some another guy, so they also come in a service sector. So India have a huge role of service sector in our economy. Alright, so these are the primary types in the economy: agricultural economy, industrial economy and service economy. I hope you understood this part. It's a bit easy to understand, right? So later on From our next sessions, we are going to understand the very important classification in our economics, that is macroeconomics and microeconomics. These are very important broad classifications. So by that time, stay tuned, stay healthy. Thank you very much.